as I'm sure you've already heard or have already been made aware, Valkyr is getting a rework during the Warframe Isleweaver update. What that is going to change is a lot, but the biggest thing people are very, very angry about, her fourth ability, Hysteria. It will no longer make her invulnerable. Okay, you know how it doesn't even say that it makes her invincible here, which is always a funny thing in my mind. It just has energy, lifesteal, damage, drain, radius, but it doesn't actually say she becomes invincible. Either way, it is taking away the invulnerability of Hysteria, and people are very angry. This is Valkyr. This is the new QOL rework stuff on Valkyr. I'll probably actually end up making a separate video for that other QOL if it ends up being like actually big or not. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see. Valkyr is getting a full refresh. We are getting one forma sent to everyone who I think has Valkyr. No, I think just everyone will get one forma, so cool. But people are mad. The rework focuses on the Rage of Berserker, her core identity, top to bottom ability refresh, updated passive leads into new mechanic Rage. With this, we intend to capture the essence of reckless commitment, no break allowed. So if you've seen the video from Pablo, she is better in most ways. Her first ability groups people together, she gives more armor, better AoE, buffs. It's nice, but the thing is, her invincibility on her fourth's gone. So that's huge. Let's go over one by one what's actually going on with your girl, Oraxia, not Araxia, Valkyr. Words are hard. Passive, embrace the rage with her new passive. Valkyr's updated passive will work hand in hand with a new mechanic Rage. Valkyr's passive generates rage after killing and hitting enemies with melee weapons. Okay, understandable. Rage will empower any melee weapon she uses, including Hysteria, as well as provide survivability, damage boost, and it's kind of a shield gate. Let's see what that means. Valkyr accumulates rage when killing enemies, increasing her melee damage up to 300%. She consumes her rage if above 75% to prevent death and become invulnerable briefly. So what I'm thinking is like, is that brief invulnerability going to be enough to actually make her super invincible? I guess we'll see. Probably not, but let's find out. Okay. Gain rage on melee kills and hit. Gain up to 300% melee damage based on real time. Rage amount. Okay. Kills grant a small amount of rage. Assists build rage. So at least you can like hit enemies. You don't have to kill them. Finishers and mercy kills grant more rage. Melee hits grant the least amount of rage, but can be triggered multiple times per enemies. Of course, makes sense. Rage stops decaying briefly whenever you gain rage. Rage percent slowly decays over time without rage generation. Yeah, of course. Consumes all rage if above 75% or above. When dealt lethal damage to prevent death and give Valkyr 3 seconds of invulnerability. Okay, death prevention is a cooldown. Simply return to above 75% rage to prevent death again. Valkyr has not lost her immunity to hard landings. Yeah, so that soft landing is still a thing with Valkyr. So the thing about Valkyr is she's now seemingly just another shield gate mechanic frame if people want to do high level endurance runs. While I personally think that's whatever, it's more on Warframe if they want shield gate to be the only survival meta, which is currently the way it seems to be going. But yeah, I don't know. I've just seen a lot of people are like, I'm angry that her fourth ability invulnerability is gone, which fair enough because it's a big change. They're like, a lot of people have been like, it takes away her coolest uniqueness. And it's like, could you imagine if they took away Revenant's second ability invulnerability? It's pretty similar to that, right? People would be pissed. The difference is Revenant's way more popular than Valkyr, I believe. So she is now becoming just another shield gate frame where if you want to do survivability, shield gate, rage build gate, it's probably your survivability mechanic. Whereas at lower level, you can still health and armor tank, right? At lower levels for quite some time, you can health and armor tank depending, right? Because I know you can grant you can get a bunch of HP, and then you can get your 90 to 95% maybe DR based purely on building your armor. You can do additional DR stacking, right? There's a lot of things you can do, and you can even add in smaller amounts of shield gating here and there with that. So there is a lot of survivability in Warframe, but it really boils down to if you're doing a really long or higher level run, you do shield gating because everything can one-shot you so freaking easily. And if not, if you just play Steel Path, EDA, ETA, you just play the game, you don't have to worry a ton about metagaming into only shield gating, but still works better. But you can do lower level health and DR. Yeah, it doesn't work too terribly. But of course, I think we all run into the issue in this game, whereas you can just get one-shot so easily by anything because the game deals with such high numbers. So the metas of this game are all over the place, and since this game operates in such high numbers, degrees, integers, variables of every calculation, okay, you can hit billions, trillions, quintillions of damage technically if you've gone out of your way to do it. So the game's crazy like that. Either way, I'm just curious what everyone thinks. I think it's cool that Valkyr's got an upgrade, and I think it's good they're adding a shield gate-ish ability, or like a passive, right, with Rage. I just straight up don't think they want to have easy, no effort invulnerability. And I understand why people are gonna be pissed about that, but I just feel like they want to stray away from that. Probably should have just done the thing where they kept it, and going forward, no longer do hardcore one button press invulnerabilities, but hey, I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Share your thoughts below. I'm very indifferent because I'm not a massive Valkyr player, and when I do play Valkyr, I just smack everyone with melee. So she's, in my mind, a basic ass melee and never die frame. Curious what everyone thinks. They are updating her values, okay? She has more health, but she has, more health and armor. Okay. No, just straight up, they gave her way more health and armor, almost doubled it health-wise, and they gave her like 200 more armor, almost. Not bad. So it seems like they do want to try and push you more, a little bit more at least, to try health, armor, and damage reduction tanking with your rage mechanic. But again, it just depends what you're trying to go for. You can still get one shots so easily in this game randomly, even with high armor DR stacking. So the games can be kind of a mess. Either way, everyone, rip line, it's very easy. You rip line to stuff, you can cancel it. She's Spider-Man, sweet. Even though we're getting Araxia, God, I keep wanting to say Arixia because it reminds me of Onyxia's lair in WoW. Don't question it, it's just where it's going, okay? I know her name's Araxia, but I keep wanting to say Arixia. My brain is broken. I am destined to die as we all are. Don't worry about it. It's just the way it goes. Now, double jump usage is reset upon riplining. Cool, you can do little boosts of momentum. Spider-Man. Ripline cast when targeting an enemy will pull Valkyr towards the enemies, and 7-meter radius AoE, pull anyone together. The 7-meter AoE, pull everyone together, is actually really goddamn good IMO, because it gives her CC, which you can then go into like melee the shit out of the enemies. Because you can see all of the kills, like the meleeing here, she goes from 233% damage on her rage meter, boom, stacks it up 100%. Not bad, because they're using Valkyr Prime Talons in this one. 1200 energy, super prime flow, I like it. So I like it, I think that's cool. The swing line, rip line is now free while airborne, parkour velocity is increased with the mod rank. Cool. Warcry, her second ability, I believe this one's just like an AoE damage buff essentially, is how it worked, or did work, or does work. Pretty much, you'll be able to move when you're able to cast it. However, Warcry will now be able to buff allies who lose her Warcry buff alongside additional quality of life tuning. Let's listen. It can be recast, thank God. I hate when they don't make buffs recastable. Base duration increased to 20 seconds from 15 seconds. That's nice. Having really low cooldown active buffs is just mean. But yeah, that's good. Ability effects spread to allies within affinity range, so it's a 50-meter AoE, and then players can reacquire Warcry's effects when re-entering Valkyr's affinity range. If you die or get nullified, you can return to Valkyr to refresh Warcry. So technically, it is a constant, it sounds like, AoE aura that gives out her Warcry, which is really cool. I like that. Warcry no longer slows enemies because that's been moved to paralysis. Warcry has received a new casting animation and visual effect. Warcry can now be cast while moving. So Warcry is essentially armor speed increase, okay? And speed decrease. Yeah, slowing down is gone though, because that's moving to paralysis. So you'll still get the armor and the speed increase. So it's a great buff, not bad, not bad. A lot of armor, a lot of speed. And the best part about it is the duration's going up. So I think my build here is still going to work. Adaptation, I'll keep that on. I was just goofing with that. Don't need it when you're doing invulnerability, but now I guess I'll keep it on because of her new update. Nah, I'll change around her build more and actually have fun with her. I've just never been a huge Valkyr player, so I've gone all duration and strength. And honestly, I kind of still think I will. So it's a good buff. Warcry, very, very strong. If we're looking at paralysis, brings additional functionality to double down on the ability to weaken your foes while reconfiguring it from costing shields to energy. So Enemies struck by paralysis receive a base 50% melee damage vulnerability. More damage is good. Melee damage vulnerability scales with ability strength. Sweet, it's just a straight up melee damage buff. Awesome. Enemies in health bar receive effects indicate their vulnerability when players actively use any melee weapon. Cool. They're slowed by a base 30% when struck by paralysis. Scales with ability strength. Awesome. You can technically, if you feel like it, do an AoE slow build. New slow Nova build, but Valkyr, right? Just not quite as good because 30%, 200% would put it to 60. You'd need, if they even allow it 90%, you would need straight 300% strength. So maybe not ideal, but it would still be good, right? Shield cost been removed. It now costs 50 energy. Base 400 impact damage was added as well to compensate. Cool, it does a little bit of damage, but it's not an AoE nuke murdering ability. Updated with upper body animation, ensure movement is an interruptible casting, and then paralysis VFX was updated to appear radial rather than conal. And then paralysis previous line of sight check has been updated to our modern version to improve hit detection reliability. Awesome. Prolonged paralysis. Enemies will now be ragdolled to group them up with the augment. The duration and feel will be the same, but this will ultimately fix a long-standing issue with the previous iteration with knockdowns, where enemies would not be pulled while afflicted with status effect reaction animations. Example, heat or electric status. Okay. They will now be ragdolled to group them up with the augment. That'll be cool. I'll mess around with it when it drops for sure. Hysteria, the fourth ability, the main ability, her Exalted Claws, pulls together the fantasy of a berserker theme. Now combined with her new passive, Hysteria will utilize her rage to deliver hysterical destruction to any foes in her path. No longer turns Valkyr invulnerable. This is just what people are crying about right there. Now, armor gain from Warcry is increased by 3x during Hysteria for Valkyr. So you go from, what was it, like 800, right? You go from, 935 to almost 3,000, right? You get 2,800 armor pretty much. That's like straight up 90 to 95% DR, I think, or like maybe 90 to 98. I can't quite remember. Because you have to remember, armor is a DR. Like armor is base effective health, right? EHP, that's what armor is. That's what HP is. They're both EHP because they're effective HP. And damage reduction is another like EHP because armor is its own damage reduction. It's all the same but different, you know? It's the same shit but different because it affects HP. So you know how armor works. You get the idea. We've all played games, okay? So it's just a lot better. She is still gonna be really tanky. It's just maybe past level 1,000, maybe past level 2,000, maybe past level 600. I don't know. It's just at a certain point, you would want to still use shield gating invulnerability because, yeah, that's just kind of how the game works. But it looks like her armor, her health, maybe just throw on one tankiness, equilibrium, and then something to quickly gain back shield, like one arcane, and you might be good to go. I don't know. It depends how much you want to really build into it, right? Do you want to build more armor for her? Do you want to build adaptation rolling guard? Do you want to do shield gating rolling guard? Do you want to do... You can do anything. That's the nice thing about Warframe. But I know, no matter what, understandably so, people are not going to like that her invulnerability is removed. Either way, we continue. Currently, Valkyr is one of the highest armor stats with room to acquire much more, but that armor became meaningless with Hysteria's invulnerability. Fucking lol. Here, we aim to amplify Valkyr's armor capabilities combined with their death prevention while above 75% rage and lifesteal improvements. Honestly, she should play really well and be a really fun frame. But again, high level play, it's still probably shield gate only. She is immune to status effects while Hysteria is active, so honestly, because that's staying, you probably won't want to bother with rolling guard or anything like that. You probably maybe just want to throw on adaptation and call it a day and see how it goes. We'll mess around, but she seems fun. Energy drain caps up 10 energy per second instead of 15. Cool. Healing from Hysteria's lifesteal is 50 per hit. Health gained scales with ability strength. Nice. The self-reflection damage part of Hysteria has been completely removed. In other words, you can no longer die specifically from deactivating Hysteria while enemies are nearby. Valkyr's Talon's Hysteria melee stance has been updated. Damage for status effects. Cool. Combo attacks animation has been updated to remove sudden stops, ensuring mobility is maintained while attacking. Example, the Fervor combo no longer stops players' movements on the 3rd and 4th hit. Guaranteed slash status effects have been added to several attacks in her combo, excluding her slide attack. No, lol. I think they want people to do slide attacks a little bit less in general. The combos receiving slash status effects during certain attacks are Fervor, Rage, Delirium, Rise from Ashes. Rage, forward E, Fervor, attack and plus press E. Rise from Ashes, press middle mouse button. Delirium, right click plus E. Yeah, I always forget there's so many different ways to technically attack with this. but not too shabby. Several damage multipliers in your combos increased, right? Because her damage, it was be like 100 on all of these. Now it does more. Hysteria's ISPs only slash puncture, impact damage. Yeah, Hysteria's attacks receive increased base range. 1.7 before, 2.15 now. Awesome. Augments. Enrage, damage, and critical chance are increased to 350 from 200%. Okay, so they're just making her do all the damage. Obviously, most people will end up using this augment. Why wouldn't you? If you want to do a lot of damage, big numbers, red crit, oh, lovely. You'd probably want to use that. But as you can see, everyone's kind of sad and pissed about losing the invulnerability. I think people like it other than that, though, right? Like, I think people like it. Yeah, this is great. Recastable, always awesome. Indara's tier rework, right? People are like, awesome, and then people are like, I hate it because she's not invincible. Everything, yeah, see? Everything besides her 4 is good. That one really hurts. It's like her 4 is great, but people are just always, no matter what, gonna be sad that they're losing straight up invulnerability. Because it's like if they take off if you didn't have invulnerability on Revenant, right? Like, people would freak out. That's such a massive thing. Long live Pablo for acknowledging that 1 million armor and 0 armor is exactly the same when you're invulnerable. Yeah, Warframe. So I'm very curious what people will think in an upvote system. So yeah, if people are pissed, let me know. It looks like a lot of the things that are getting upvoted here are people that are pissed off that the 4th ability was nerfed. So it looks like, yeah, people are angry that that 4th ability was nerfed, understandably so. Let me know what you think. I'm gonna still have fun playing her when she comes out, and she'll still be like a good frame. But yeah, that 4th ability nerf does definitely suck. We'll see how tanky she is, and if like you can no effort go to really high levels. We'll see. We'll mess around with her. We'll find out, okay? I'm not like a for fun endurance player because I get pretty bored, but hey, we can always mess around more in Void Cascades or long survivals or anything that we feel like, and just mess around and see how she reacts in the new meta of her changes when she actually comes out. Because like as of right now, you just kind of throw on equilibrium, make sure your stats are good, and then just melee everyone to death always and make sure your buffs are on. That's how I've always viewed her. While she's a good frame, she might be a boring frame for some people, but yeah. Yeah. Either way, that is the end of the video. Thank you for watching, subbing, liking, or checking anything out. You can use Epic Games creator code Pupsker. Check out all the socials, Twitch, Pupsker VODs, or Pupsker. Yeah, got a lot of channels. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Let me know. Cheers.